Cowherd, there's nothing about this I like. Flirting with the Warriors is a bad look, yes or no?
Of course not. He's planting seeds. He wants the narrative out there. He wants general managers and the Warriors to know everything's on the table. I think retirement is on the table. I think he'd step back for a year. He'd come back. I think everything's on the table, and this is just a way to
He would step away from basketball
for 1 year.
And then come back.
And let the stuff sort it. So I think everything's on. I think the Lakers are. I think the Warriors are. I think Houston is. I think Cleveland is. And I think 5%.
So you think he put this out there?
Absolutely. I think somebody in his group. By the way, why would the Warriors put this out there and tick off?
I didn't say the Warriors, but I mean,
well, who?
I don't know.
That sounds like what LeBron's doing is, I'm just going to have you guys talk about it for a couple days. I want every GM to know I would even go to the Warriors, maybe take less. Everything Dan Gilbert is on the table.
I agree with that. And again, I'll go back to the conversation we had yesterday and earlier this week. The Clippers certainly believe that and have made some moves so they can be in that sweepstakes. But to me, if I'm LeBron James, I don't go. This is the nuclear option. When you attach your name in any way that you would be cowardly enough to go to the Warriors.
Cowardly.
If he went to the Warriors, I would lose all respect for LeBron James. No way his name should be attached to this rumor. I'd rather have rumors about Sacramento than the Golden State Warriors. I would puke if this happened, and it would just be terrible.
But I like the fact that you brought up yesterday, because yesterday we had the question, would he get traded?
Yeah.
Would he waive his no-trade clause? He might waive his no-trade clause if he was going to the Golden State Warriors. But they have to do a whole lot they have to basically deplete the whole team. And that's not going to happen.
He's put it in the air.
Well, he did it because he know we're going to run wild with it. That's all it is. It's taking a little attention off how bad they're playing
there you go.
as a team. So he throws that out there. He throws a little rock and lets everybody go crazy when
he's not doing it for
glass.
us. I think he's doing it every owner, executive in the NBA. I'm out here, baby. Come get me.
That's what I think he's doing.
Well, Whitlock, what if, this is how you could look at it, what if he's doing this as a signal to his own owner, Dan Gilbert? Hey, Dan, our culture is messed up, okay? These guys don't like each other. Isaiah Thomas is complaining. I want a good culture here. I actually want to stay in Cleveland. Look what the Warriors are doing. Look what the culture is there. Last week it was the Houston Rockets, remember? What if LeBron's putting this stuff out there? Because he's saying, look what the Rockets have done. They got rid of Dwight Howard and bing, bang, boom, they're a 60-win team. Look at what the Warriors have done. They've built the best culture. Everybody wants to play there. Why can't you do it here, Dan? Trade that Nets pick. Do something.
Well, the Warriors actually did that through the draft. By good drafting and getting a few free agents, but pretty much it was all through the draft. They drafted Clay, they drafted Dre, they drafted Steph, and then they added KD, they added Iguodala. Yeah. That's what that's the culture that they built.
Let me add something.
Go ahead.
They allowed themselves to be coached as well, which LeBron has always had a problem with.
They were extremely well coached. When you look at, you had Mark Jackson first, and then Steve Kerr came and picked up where Mark Jackson was kind of lacking a little bit with the offense and stuff like that. The defense was set. All Steve Kerr had to do was have them believe in the offense and believe in them. They're a team that it looks perfect for LeBron if he wanted to go there, because that's the kind of culture that he wants to play in. But
no, he doesn't.
It's not going to happen.
He doesn't.
By the way, so let's just think of LeBron's career. He inherited Cleveland. Awful, and made the best of it.
Oh, he didn't want to play in Cleveland, did he?
No, I'm saying, but he didn't have any good players. A little bit of a burden. He had to carry him. Then he goes to Miami, which, by the way, wasn't good until he got there. They were on the downward trend.
Wasn't good.
Well, they had been.
Wade would like to smite you right now.
And then he goes back to Cleveland, where Kyrie had been an often injured diva. Let's not pretend like if he went to Golden State that he's always gone to the easiest route. LeBron's always gone the easiest route.
Going to play with Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, that was the easy route.
Okay, so
I want to go back to your point.
I want to add something.
This whole thing of it's on Dan Gilbert.
It is. He's the only one that can make the team better. He traded Kyrie Irving.
Sell the team.
Come on, he's out there scouting Trae Young at Oklahoma, and he's going to sell the team.
LeBron creates the culture. Let's don't act like Dan Gilbert or Mickey Arison create the culture.
You don't think it's a trickle down? Bob Kraft to Bill Belichick.
That's football.
To Tom
Jump to football.
So
We're talking
if
basketball.
LeBron went to Golden State and they trade Klay Thompson, you would be what?
Well, there's no way they're doing that, Colin.
You'd be offended.
I would be offended. It would diminish LeBron. I have a great deal of respect for LeBron. I really do. I like you. But if he went, he's already stolen some championships in Miami, and we were good with that.
Listen,
if he goes and plays with Kevin Durant and Steph Curry, this whole culture of basketball, when Duke gets the top 3 players in the country, that offends me. And it makes me look at these millennials and like, man, y'all weak. The top 3, when it used to be if I was number 3, let me go somewhere and prove that I'm number 1. Now these guys all, the 1, 2, 3 players all go play together.
But they don't have to do that. They don't have to do that in
LeBron's
college
Instagram?
basketball. They don't have to. They do that in high school. That's when they get their rankings. They do it in high school and AAU. That's when they go against each other.
And it's happening in the NBA,
But
Ed.
you want to form the best team you can at the end of the day.
Whitlock, do you blame Blake Griffin for being a little upset there?
I don't think he was a little upset. I think he was a little factual. That, hey, yeah, I would have liked to have heard and not be texted. I saw this over Twitter. He's like, I've been traded. I don't think he's bitter. I think he's factual. I don't think the Clippers are to blame. It's the world we live in.
Yeah.
News travels so fast that it's hard to keep up with it. And so these agents and the leagues have these relationships with these reporters where there's the quid pro quo, that you provide the information and I'll provide you information in return. And so the priority for the organizations a lot of times is to make sure that Adrian Wojnarowski or whoever the reporter is has the information immediately. And I'm sure they wanted to get to Blake in as timely a fashion as they could, but news just travels so fast now.
By the way, LeBron signed shorter contracts, so this stuff doesn't happen to him. Blake wanted the money. He wanted the money, and I don't listen, I get it. But, I mean, LeBron, he won't sign these long deals, and, I mean,
He's been injured, so I don't blame Blake.
I mean, but my takeaway on Blake is I'm not a big believer in the word deserve. You earn. He's been hurt a lot. He punched a member of the staff. He's been difficult. Some guys don't.
$171 million, too. I'm not crying for a guy with $171 million.
No. I think Blake is the chemistry was never good. Blake was partly to blame. I mean, they gave him a fortune, and an hour later he's on TMZ dating some Jenner. I think they're disappointed in Blake.
I get a $171 million contract. I'm gonna date a Jenner too, or a Kardashian.
But let's look at it from this point of view. Let's say that the Clippers went to Blake Griffin and said, "Hey, Blake, just so you know, we're going to be looking to trade you." What would the reaction be? Blake Griffin would have freaked out. You guys just paid me, and now you're going to trade me? It wouldn't have helped at all, Eddie. If you're on the team and the owner comes and says, "Yeah, we're looking to put you in trade talks," I mean, your head mentally is going to go to a place you don't want to be. It would not have helped at all.
It wouldn't bother me that much because it is a business. You have to, and I'll give you an example of what happened with me when I was in Boston, got traded to New York. Doc, we were getting off for shoot around. Doc stopped me on the bus and said, "Hey, we're almost done with this deal. We're going to trade you to New York. We're getting Nate Robinson back. Do you want to come practice?" Now, I could have easily been like, "No, I'm not going to come back." I'm like, you know what? The deal's not done. I'm going to take care of my business. I'm going to prepare like I'm going to play tomorrow. And if I get traded, if the deal goes through, then I'm not. But I still got my work in today, and that's it. And I'll be prepared for the game if the trade doesn't go through. So if you're a professional, you understand that's the business side. Now, if they expect us to be professional, I also expect the organization to be professional. And if you are trading somebody, you should reach out and talk to him. Yes. The same way that Jay Kidd didn't find out, he found out through Giannis that he was fired. Now, the organization holds you to a certain standard and say, "Hey, you're supposed to be professional and represent this organization." Well, then why can't they represent the organization in the proper way and reached out and say, "Hey, man, you know what? This is what we're going to do. This is how we're moving."
There's always layers to it. You brought Jay Kidd into this. There's always layers to it. The ownership in Milwaukee, they're friends with Jason Kidd. You can't tell me there wasn't some discussion going on.
Jay Kidd said it wasn't.
There had to be something going on where he knew his job was on the line. But there's so much history between those two guys. There had to be something. As it relates to Blake Griffin, again, you're never going to tell a guy, particularly of his stature, "We're thinking about trading you." Should they have let him know, "Hey, we just traded you"? Again, I guarantee you it was their intention. It's just the news traveled so far, so fast that they just didn't have a chance.
You know what the Clippers deserve is Blake Griffin to average more points and rebounds than he did this year as his rookie year. You know he hasn't improved at all. His stats are like this. I mean, the guy has
And
not
they're
developed the three-point
and they're damn
shot.
good stats,
Yeah,
though.
but Eddie, come on. He was doing that when he was 22 years old.
It doesn't matter. They're damn good stats.
Where's the
You'll take
three-point
that
shot,
any day.
Eddie?
He doesn't have to have a three-point shot.
Everybody else is developing one.
Not everybody has
power
a three-point
forwards,
shot.
I mean,
Not
you gotta
every
become a
power
stretch
forward
four.
has three-point shots. So you telling me Boogie Cousins has a great three-point shot? It's not great. Do you want him to shoot low 30% when he could get a little closer and take a 15-foot shot that's way more efficient?
Well, the math
that's
says give
more
me threes,
knockdown?
Eddie. The math says
like
give me
that.